Welcome to another quick bite video from Insurance Domain Training Center. Discover the fascinating story of how a busy 17th century London coffee house became the birthplace of the multi-billion-dollar global insurance industry. Travel back to the late 1600s to Lloyd's coffee house near the River Thames through this video.
You know, when you think about insurance, you probably picture these massive, sterile office buildings, right? All contracts and complex math. Well, what if I told you the whole thing, the entire global industry that our economy depends on, didn't start in a boardroom? Nope. It started in a noisy, crowded coffee shop back in the 17th century. And that's the wild story we're going to get into today.
Yeah, I know. It sounds pretty wild, doesn't it? How on earth could a cup of coffee create this huge global industry? But that's the big question here. We are literally going to trace the line all the way from a little London cafe straight to the insurance policy that might be sitting in your glove box right now.
All right, so to really get why this idea was so revolutionary, you've got to picture the scene. We're talking late 1600s London. This place was the absolute hub of a booming global empire, and the lifeblood of all that wealth? It was all about trade, by sea. I mean, people were making absolute fortunes shipping valuable stuff across the oceans. But here's the catch. For every single merchant, every ship owner, each voyage was a massive, all-or-nothing gamble. If your ship came in, you were unbelievably rich. But if it didn't, you lost everything. I mean, everything. Total, complete ruin. And the odds of failure? They were just terrifyingly high. Think about it. These were wooden ships on crazy, unpredictable oceans. A freak storm could pop up out of nowhere, snap a mast, and boom, the whole thing sinks in minutes. And that's not even mentioning the pirates. They were a constant, brutal threat. Or just, a simple accident miles from any shore could mean total disaster. It was incredibly risky. So, okay, in this super high-stakes world, a new kind of place starts becoming unbelievably important: the coffee house. And there was this one specific coffee shop right near the London docks that basically became the command center for the entire shipping world. Just try to picture it, right? You walk in, the whole room smells like strong coffee and tobacco, and it's just buzzing with energy. You've got sailors fresh off these insane voyages, swapping stories. You've got ship captains huddled in corners, mapping out their next trip. And crucially, you have these wealthy investors, guys with deep pockets, just soaking it all in, listening to every word. But see, this wasn't just a place to hang out and grab a coffee. Lloyd's was a critical intelligence hub. The most valuable thing being traded in that room wasn't spices or silk, it was information. Getting solid intel about which routes were safe, which captains were reliable, what was happening in ports halfway across the world, that kind of news was worth its weight in gold. Absolutely priceless. And it's right here, in this perfect storm of people. You've got the money guys, the ship guys, and the info guys all in one room, that this brilliant, world-changing idea starts to bubble up. I mean, this was the nightmare that kept every merchant up at night. You send a ship out, and it's like you've put your entire life savings on a single roll of the dice at the casino. But then someone starts thinking, wait a minute, what if you didn't have to bet it all on just one ship? What if you could spread that risk out? And the solution they came up with was just genius in its simplicity. Here's how it worked. A merchant pays a pretty small fee, what we'd now call a premium, to a bunch of these wealthy investors. In return, each investor agrees to cover just a little piece of the financial risk. So if the worst happens and the ship does go down, they all chip in to pay the merchant back for the loss. Simple, right? Okay, so this new kind of deal was great, but it needed to be official, right? And the way they actually did it, the physical act of making this agreement, is where we get a word that we use all the time in insurance today. So picture this. There's a piece of paper, and on it are all the details: the ship's name, its cargo, where it's going. And an investor who's willing to take on, let's say, 5% of the risk, would literally walk up to that paper and write his name under all those details. And there you have it. That is literally where the word underwriter comes from. They were the guys who wrote under the risk. How cool is that? It wasn't some complicated financial term they invented. It was just a description of what they were physically doing. And just like that, a key player in modern finance got its name.
Now, an idea this good, this powerful, well, it was never going to stay inside just one coffee shop. This thing was about to explode onto the world stage.
So, what started as, these informal handshake deals over a cup of coffee, it evolved. And fast. Pretty soon, by the 1700s, the underwriters at Lloyd's get organized. They form an actual society, a real marketplace. And from that point on, the whole concept just takes off, becoming this massive global industry that, let's be honest, we rely on for pretty much everything. It's just an incredible story when you step back and look at it. This simple idea, sharing risk as a community, that was born out of pure necessity in a London coffee house, it created the very foundation that lets companies take huge, bold risks and lets you and me have a safety net when things go wrong. So look, if you take away just one thing from all this, let it be this. Insurance is just risk sharing. That's it. At its heart, no matter how complicated the policies seem today, it all comes down to that simple system of sharing the risk. The exact same idea that was cooked up at Lloyd's all those years ago.
It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What other huge, world-changing parts of our lives started out in some totally unexpected way? It just goes to show you, the biggest ideas don't always come from fancy labs or big shop boardrooms. Sometimes all it takes is a bunch of people, a shared problem, and maybe, just maybe, a really good cup of coffee.
Thank you for watching the Quick Bite series from www.inzu.com. Please like and subscribe to our videos for you to get notification when we upload new videos.